On Tuesday, September 12th, 2017, Apple is set to make a big announcement. It is very likely that this announcement will be the announcement of the new generation of iPhones. It is not yet clear what features the new iPhone will have, although there are a lot of rumors. It's not even certain what the new iPhone will be called. It was long thought that the next generation of the iPhone is going to be called the iPhone 8, but now there's a rumor that it's actually going to be called the iPhone X or perhaps the iPhone 10, considering that X is the Roman numeral for 10. It's also possible that maybe they will release something called the iPhone X or 10 and also announce the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus all at the same time. One thing that has been confirmed, however, is that the next version of the iOS operating system will be called iOS 11. iOS 11 will come pre-installed on the new iPhones, but it will also be available as an upgrade to older iOS devices. And while presumably iOS 11 will have a lot more features, there is something that iOS 11 will not be able to do that the current versions of iOS can do. And that is, iOS 11 will not have the ability to run more than 200,000 apps that are currently working for the iOS operating system. The reason for this is iOS 11 will not support 32-bit apps. Currently, iOS devices use 64-bit processors. The first iPhone that used a 64-bit processor was the iPhone 5S, which was released in 2014. Apple has been requiring that all new apps and all new upgrades to older apps support the 64-bit platform for a while now. However, older apps that have not been upgraded within the past 3 years will not work. One app that won't work anymore on iOS 11 is the popular game Robot Unicorn Attack, created by Adult Swim. This game has not been updated since December of 2013. While this app does work on current versions of iOS 10, when you try to open it, you will get this error message at the beginning saying, "This app will not work on iOS 11. The developer of this app needs to upgrade it for compatibility." To find out if one of the apps you're using is a 32-bit app and therefore will not work on iOS 11, you can try opening the app and see if you get this error message. Unfortunately, there are not a lot of options if you want to use Robot Unicorn Attack on an iOS operating system in the future. One option is to not upgrade the operating system to iOS 11 when it comes out, but then you will miss out on all the new features of iOS 11. Another option would be to contact the developer and request that they update it for iOS 11. While this can't hurt, unfortunately, it looks like most of the apps that have not yet been upgraded for the 64-bit iOS operating system simply have been abandoned by their developers, and it's unlikely that they will be updated in the future. However, there are some notable exceptions. It was looking like the popular fighting game Infinity Blade was going to be abandoned by its publisher because it still had not been upgraded to 64-bit even in August of 2017. However, on August 29th, the publisher actually did come out with a 64-bit upgrade for Infinity Blade, perhaps because enough people contacted them and requested it. Besides running each application individually, if you want to find out if you have any 32-bit applications on your iOS device that won't work on iOS 11, go to the Settings, go to General, go to About, and go to Applications, and there you will see a list of 32-bit apps that won't work on iOS 11. This is not a screenshot from my device, incidentally. The bottom line is, iOS devices, and perhaps smartphones and tablets in general, really aren't that great at backwards compatibility. Mainframe computers often boast that you can run software that is decades old on them. In contrast, with the release of iOS 11, Apple is about to make unusable apps that were programmed just 3 years prior to its release. Personal computers are not as good at backwards compatibility as mainframes, but they are generally better at backwards compatibility than iPhones, iPods, iPads, and other iOS devices. On PCs and Macintoshes, you often can run older software as long as you use emulation software. With the iPhone, I doubt if there will be any 32-bit emulators made for iOS 11, in part because I don't even think that Apple would allow such emulators in their App Store, considering that they claim that 32-bit apps are slowing down iOS devices. But I could be wrong, and if you know anything about a 32-bit emulator for iOS 11, please let me know. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, and together we shall take over the world. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Zorkmid123. I also broadcast on YouNow at Zorkmid123. I upload 6 to 8 videos a month.